Hi students, this is Kishore Dasari. Today I will get summary of Unit 1. What are the topics in Unit 1 and what are the basic definitions. I'm already explained the Unit 1 but I just recollect the all those things in brief manner. Okay, let us go to the concepts. And another the first example in our college in lab having only one printer, but all the student can access the printer through network. It's unable to connect or provide each system for a separate printer or separate any other devices. You can use these scanners and printers in office or anything else, anywhere else. You can use share the resources. Uh, Next one, sharing a single internet connection. For example, in nowadays, every house having an internet connection, but the internet connection is used but many devices can connected with single internet connection. Likewise, your Wi-Fi. In every house, more than one mobile is there. The all mobiles can able to work. You can access files and multimedia such as images and music which you store remotely on other machines or network attached storage devices. For example, nowadays Google Drive is the example for storage. The You can save or you can store your files, multimedia files, text files, or anything else. You can save your drive. You can access your drive from any devices like mobile, computer, laptop, or anything from anywhere. Sometimes you can't able to store large amount of data in your device, so you can only store at servers, but you cannot able to maintain a server for your single large file. This simply you can store your large amount file at servers by low cost. Next one, data communications. The term telecommunication means communication at a distance. The word data refers to the information presented in whatever form agreed upon by the parties creating and using the data. The data communication are the between exchange of data between two devices via some of the transmission medium such as a wire, cable. When we communicate, we are sharing information. The sharing can be local or remote. For data communication occur, the communication devices must be a part of communication system made up of combination of hardware and software. The hardware goes to equipment, physical equipment, and software is programs. For communication, when we are using many cables, coaxial cable, internet cable, and wireless medium and Wi-Fi devices, modems, these are all physical equipment and softwares, network algorithms. The good algorithm and and finest equipment like wires, optical fiber cables, these are communication medium to be used for the data transmission. The effectiveness of data communication system depends on four fundamental characteristics: delivery, accuracy, timeliness. The delivery. The system must deliver data to the correct destination. The data must be received by the intended device or user and only by the device or user. For example, you can send an email to your friend. The friend name is Jones. When when you are trying to send email, but the Jones doesn't get the mail from you, then you the mail will be unsent or delivered wrong address. But the data communication system can provide efficient service like good delivery. The system must deliver data to correct destination. Who is the sender and who is the receiver? Next one, accuracy. The system must deliver the data accurately. The data that have been altered in transmission and left uncorrected are unusable. When the when what the data you are sending, the actual message will not altered at the altered when it received by the receiver. If you can trying to send the data, the receiver is also ready to receive data and without altered data. Next one is timeliness. The system must deliver data in timely manner. In the case of video and audio, timely delivery means delivering data as they are produced in the same order that they are produced and without significant delay. The kind of delivery is called real-time transmission. Nowadays, so many videos are video calls are using this time real time transmission. When you are trying to make a video call to your friend, the time delay is more than the video will be dancing like fast moving and disturbed video, noisy video. Nowadays all streamings are live sessions are examples for real time transmission communication one system to another system. This is the diagram for components and protocol sender protocol receiver message medium either physical or wireless. And next one is data representation. The information today comes in different forms such textual message, numerical information, images, audio and video. The data communication text is represented as a bit pattern sequence of bits zeros and ones. Today, prevalent coding system is called Unicode, which is used to 32-bit representation a symbol or character used in any language in the world. The American Standard Codes for Information Interchange, it is called ASCII, developed some decades ago in United States, now constitutes the first 127 characters in Unicode. It is also referred in a basic Latin. Next one, the data transmission modes. The transmission modes means the transferring of data between two devices. It is also known as communication mode. The buses and networks are designed to allow communication to occur between individual and devices that are interconnected. Uh, Simply, transmission mode is treated as there is communication between two devices, one way or two way or multi way communication. Simply says that one way, two way, multi way communication. There are three types of There are three types of transmission modes: simplex, half duplex. The main example is mobile, telecommunication. In telecommunication, we can talk each other at the same time. And next topic is types of communication. The network is two or more devices connected through a link. A link is a communication pathway that transfers data from one device to another device. The devices can be a computer or printer or any other device that is capable to send and receive data. For visualization purpose, imagine any link as a line drawn between 2 points. For communication occurs, the two devices must be connected with the same some way to the same link at the same time. There are two possible types of connection, but in every communication system having connections. These are connections are point to point or multi-point connection. First, simply, what is topology? Topology defines the structure of the networks of how all the components are interconnected to each other. There are different types of topology: physical, logical. Basically, our syllabus will cover physical topologies. Simply, topology is physical structure of the network, or what the shape we are using the connected to components, connected the components to computer, the network. The physical topology is physical layouts of a layout of nodes on the network. Like physical topology is geometric representation of all nodes in a network. We have different topologies: mesh, ring, bus, star. We can create hybrid topology. We can create integral type of network and cabling infrastructure and transmission medium used. And coming to next topic is categories of network. Categories of networks. Today, when we speak of networks, the basic network can be categorized three types: the local area networks, metropolitan area networks, and wide area networks. Coming to local area networks. The local area network is a group of computers connected with each other in a small place such as a school, hospital, apartments, like that. A LAN can be as a simple as two pieces, and a printer is sometimes home office, or it extends throughout the company and including audio and video peripherals. Currently, LAN size is limited a few kilometers. The LANs are designed to allow resources to be shared between personal computers or workstations. The resources to be shared can include hardware like printers, softwares like application programs, or data. The LAN is secure because there is no outside connections. With the local area network, the data is shared and safe. The basic advantages of the LAN is the LANs are same as those group any devices network together. The device can use single internet connection, share files with one another, print shared printers, and the access to the even controlled by one another. LAN were developed in 1960s for use by colleges, universities, and research facilities. And next one is WAN, Wide Area Network. The wide area network, the simply the long distance transmission of data, image, audio, and video information over large geographic areas that may comprise a country or continent or even whole world. A WAN can be a complex as backbone, the connect to the internet, or as a simple dial-up line that they connect a home computer to the internet. We normally refer to the first as switched WAN and the second as point-to-point WAN. The switched WAN connect to end systems which usually comprise the router and internet connecting devices that connected. This is the example for wide area network. The basic WAN is telecommunication network that sections over large geographic area of Primary purpose of computer networking. Wide area networks are often established with leased telecommunication circuits. Nowadays, we can get easily internet connection like ACT, XL broadband. These are all fixed size transmission modes. In olden days, we can get a BSNL landline connection, and the separator will be supports like to calls and internet. These are all dial-up internet connections. And the most WAN, the WAN examples is when today internet world we can connect the long distance computers by using internet. And next one is MAN, Metropolitan Area Network. The size between a LAN and WAN. The normally covers the area inside the town or a city. It is designed for the customer who needs high speed connectivity and normally the internet and heavy endpoints. The spread over the city or part of the city. A good example of MAN is a part of the telephone company network that can provide high-speed DSL line to the customer. The another example is cable TV network that originally was designed for the cable TV, but today you can use it for high-speed data connection to the internet. For example, we can control over the cameras and traffic signals by at the central controlling point. We can use this network. All the devices can be connected with the central system by using different type of topologies. In generally, the hub, the star topology and bus will be used for the WAN, man metropolitan area network. This is the diagram for metropolitan area network. There is a office buildings and university campus, government buildings, residential areas are all are connected through network. For example, in every city having so many security cameras that is called CC cameras. These are all our cameras with a, connected with the network. The main controlling point is within the city. The all the cameras will be connected with that server. The type of network is called man metropolitan area network. In this man network, we can get first of all what is mean by OSI, that is Open System Interconnection, which is developed by ISO, International Standardization or Standard Organization. It was developed in 1984. The OSI model is a layered framework for the design of network systems that allows communication between all types of computer systems. Open system means a set of protocols that allows two different devices to communicate irrespective of their physical characteristics. It consists of seven separate but related layers, each which defines part of the process moving information across the network. The basic OSI stands for Open System Interconnection, is a reference model that describes how information from one software application in one computer moves through a physical medium to the software application in another computer. The OSI consists of 7 layers and each layer performs a particular network functioning. The OSI model was developed by the International Organization for Standardization, that is International Standard Organization, in 1984, and it is now considered as architectural model for intercomputer communication. The OSI model divides the whole task into 7 smaller and manageable tasks. Each layer is assigned a particular task. Each layer is self-contained, so the task assigned to each layer can be performed independently. These are 7 layers in OSI reference model. The first one is physical, data link, network, transport, session, presentation, application. These are actually 7 layers. The top layer is application, but we can write or explain like start the number, that is bottom, from the bottom, that is physical, data link, network. Actually says the application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link, physical. These are all layers in the OSI reference layer. Responsibilities: the physical representation of bits. The physical First of all, the physical characteristics of interface and medium. The physical layer defines the characteristics of the interface between the devices and the transmission medium. It is also defines the type of transmission medium. What type of transmission medium will be used to transmit the data? The transmission mediums include coaxial cable, optical cables, LAN cables, etc. Next one, representation of bits. The physical layer data consists of a stream of bits, that is sequences of zeros and ones, which no interruption. To be transmitted, bits must encoded into signals, electrical and optical. The physical layer defines the type of encoding and decoding, that is how to transmit it or how to encode zeros and ones to the signal, that is sine wave. Next one is data rate. The transmission data, the number of bits sent each second, is also defined by the physical layer. What is mean by data rate? How much data can be transmitted within a second? In other words, the physical layer defines the duration of a bit, which is how long it lasts. Synchronization of bits: the sender and receiver not only must use the same bit rate but also must synchronize it at the bit level. In other words, the sender and receiver clocks must be synchronized. Otherwise, the data will be lost and mismatch. Next one, line configuration. The physical layer is concerned with the connection of the devices to the media. In a point-to-point configuration, two devices are connected through a dedicated link. It is multi-point configuration. A link is shared among the several devices. In generally, the physical layer having point-to-point communication links between two devices. Next one, physical topology. I think all of you know about the topology. This is the defines shape of the network. How to connect the systems or devices. The physical topology defines how devices are connected to make a network. The device can be connected by the using a mesh topology. Every device connected to every other device. In stopover topology, devices are connected through central device. And ring topology, in the ring topology connected by the ring. Likewise, the physical layer responsibility and having the line configuration also. The next one is transmission mode. I think all of you know about transmission mode, which the transmission mode is simplex or half duplex or full duplex. The transmission between 2 points, the full duplex, you can achieve high data rate. Okay. Next one is data link layer. The data link layer is responsible for moving frame from one hop to another hop or one device to another device. This is the data link layer. This is between physical layer and network layer. It is between physical and network layer. The responsibility of the data link layer is framing, physical addressing, flow controlling, error control and access control. First one, framing. In the data link layer, the data in the form of frames. The data link layer divides the stream of bits received from the network layer into manageable data units called frames. What is the format of data in data link layer? Simply frames. Next one, physical addressing. If frames are to be distributed to different systems on the network, the data link layer adds a header to the frame to define the sender or receiver the frame. If the frame is intended for a system outside of the sender network, the receiver address the address of the device that connection to the network to next one. Next one, flow control. This is the main responsibility of the data link layer. The data link layer add to reliability to the physical layer by adding mechanisms to detect and transmit damaged or lost frames. In flow control, if the rate at which the data are absorbed by the receiver is less than the rate which data is produced in the sender, the data link layer imposes a flow control mechanism avoiding overwhelming the receiver. Next point is error control. This is the error control mechanism normally achieved to a trailer and at the end of the frame. And next one, access control. When two or more devices are connected the same link, the data layer protocols are necessary to determine which device has control over the link any given time. This is hop to hop delivery system in the data link layer. What is the data link layer responsibilities? Framing, physical addressing, flow control, error control, access control. Framing. The data in the form of frames in data link layer. Next one, physical addressing, flow control, error control and access control. And next one is network layer. The network layer is responsible for the delivery of individual packets from the source host to the destination host. The network layer in between transport layer and data link layer. What is the data format? What is the data format in network layer? The data in network layer in the form of packets. Service point addressing. The computers often run several programs at the same time. For this reason, source to destination delivery means delivery not only from one computer to another computer but also from the specific process that is called as running program on a computer to specific process on the other. The transport layer header must therefore include a type of address called service point address or port address. The network layer get each packet to the correct computer. The transport layer get the entire message to the correct process on the computer. It is having port number. Next one is segmentation and reassemble. In the network, we are trying to transmit large amount data. At the time of transmission, the large amount data can be divided into several parts, and the transmission after that the receiving system the reassemble the each and every part. It simply says that a message is divided into transmittable segments, which is segment containing sequence number. These numbers enable to transmit layer to reassemble the message correctly upon arriving at the destination and its identity and replace the packet when it lost in transmission. You are trying to transmit a large amount of data in over network. Just simply it divided into several packets, that is several segments. The each segment having a sequence number which helps to reassemble and check the what the segment or what part is missing or destroy, then recollect that. Next one is connection control. The transport layer can be either communicationless or connection oriented. Connectionless or connection oriented. A connectionless transport layer treats each segment as an independent packet and it's deliver it to the network to the transport layer at the destination machine. A connection oriented transport layer make a connection with the transport layer at the destination machine first before delivering the packet. After all are transmitted and connection is terminated. Next one, flow control. Link like the data link layer, the transport layer is responsible for flow control. However, flow control at the layer is performed end to end rather than across a single link. Next one is error control. Like the data link layer, the transport layer is responsible for error control. However, each control at the layer is performed process to process rather across a single link. And the data format of in the transport layer is transport layer PDU, transport layer protocol data unit. Okay, this is responsibility for session layer and the dialog control and synchronization. Simply sing is application layer. The application layer is responsible for providing the services to the user. It is provides user interface and support for service such as electronic mail, remote file access and transfer shared database by the application layer include the following: network virtual terminal. A network virtual terminal is a software version of a physical terminal and it allows a user to log onto the remote host. To do so, the application creates software emulsion of a terminal at the remote host. The user computer talk to the software terminal, which is runs take on the host and vice versa. The remote host believes it's a communicating along of its own terminals and its user to log on. And next one is file transfer and access and management. The application allows a user access files in remote host to make changes or read data to retrieve files from the remote computer. For use the local computers to manage control in a remote computer body. Next one, mail services. This application provides the basic email services to the systems. Next one, dictionary directory services. The application provides distributed database sources and access for global information about various objects and servers. Model. This is the statement is used to remembering the 7 layers: application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link, physical. This is in this single sentence, all people seems to need data processing. All for application, people for presentation, seems for session, transport for two, network for need, data link for data, physical for processing. All people seem to need data processing. All people seem to need data processing. This is the sentence to easy remembering the 7 layers, that is should be in order: application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link, physical. Okay, this is the protocol suite for TCP/IP model. In this model, the first, this is the this is the the 7 layers are OSI reference model, but in TCP/IP we have mainly 4 layers or 5 layers: application, transport, internet or network layer, and physical layer. The basic, some are called the TCP or 5 layer, some are 4 layer concepts. The two different concepts are there. First one, application layer. In the application layer, the layer provides applications which standardize data exchange. It protocols the handles high-level protocols, issues of representation, encoding, and dialog control. The TCP/IP combines all application-related issues into one layer and assures this data is properly packaged for the next layer. Its protocol includes the FTP, HTTP, SMNP, and DNS. FTP, File Transfer Protocol; HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol; SNP, Simple Message Network Protocol; DNS, Domain Name Services. And POP3 Protocol, SMTP, Simple Network Management Protocols are different protocols. The application layer responsibilities is format of the data, data structure, and encoding the message and decode the message, and dialog control and session management. The next one is transport layer. In basically, the transport layer in TCP/IP suite is divided into two, are having two different protocols. That is TCP and UDP. First of all, what is UDP? That is User Datagram Protocol. User Datagram Protocol. This is datagram oriented communication system. It was designed in 1980s. The what is the datagram? It's a simple the computer application send messages in case referred as datagram to other hosts on internet protocol. The prior communication are not required to the order the communication channels or data paths. The UDP uses a simple connectionless communication model with minimum of protocol mechanisms. The UDP provides checksum for data integrity and port numbers for addressing different functions at the source and destination of the datagram. It has no handshaking dialogues and thus expose the user programs to any unreliability of underlying network. This is used for a lot of services. The network management SNMP and routing protocols naming is used to datagram to real-time communication system, but this is not real-time communication. This time-sensitive application often uses UDP because dropping packets is preferable to waiting for a packet delaying due to retransmission, which may be an application in a real-time system. Coming to TCP, that is Transmission Control Protocol, it's a stream oriented. It's a reliable and connection oriented protocol. The data will be transmit with complex and only one direction. If you want to transmit in both direction, simply and another dedicated link will be required. This is the connection oriented. That's why this is a reliable communication system. And the several internet applications is used in TCP, that is transmission control protocol, that is HTTP and email, FTP and telnet, etc. These are all used for communication in transmission control protocol. And next one is internet layer. The internet networking protocol. The IP is the transmission mechanism used by the TCP/IP protocol. This is it is an unreliable and connectionless protocol to best effort delivery system. The internet protocol is numerical labeled assign each device communicate. The term best effort means the IP provides no error checking or tracking. The IP assumes the unreliability of the underlying layers and does its best to get a transmission to its destination, but with no guarantee. The IP reports the data in packets called datagrams, and each of which is transported separately. The datagram can travel along different routes, can arrive out of sequence, or be duplicated. The IP does not keep track of routes and no facility for reordering datagram once they arrive at the destination. Suit. The addressing in TCP/IP. This the TCP/IP having different addresses for different layers. In the addresses in TCP/IP, in application layer, application specific address, transport layer, port address, network layer, logical address, data link layer, physical address. But these are all these are all message formats used for different layers. In application layer, this is application specific addresses using to message transfer. The transport layer segments, the network layer datagrams, the data link layer frames. In physical, okay, first of all, this is the diagrammatic comparison between OSI reference model and TCP/IP reference model. I think all of you learn about OSI reference model and TCP/IP reference model. Both are reference model which helps to transmit data from one node to another node, or one device to another device, or one system to another system. Okay. In the OSI reference model having 7 layers: application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link layer, physical layer. Coming to the first one is physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, application layer. In the connection like down to up. Okay, what about the TCP/IP model? In general, TCP/IP model is having less number of layers. The TCP/IP model having two different models likewise, TCP and IP, that is TCP protocols and IP protocols, internet layer protocols. We are going to differences between OSI and TCP/IP. The first difference is standard. The OSI stands for Open System Interconnection. The TCP/IP stands for Transmission Control Protocol or Internet Protocol. The first point is the OSI is a generic protocol, independent standard acting as a communication gateway between the network and end user. The TCP/IP model is based on standard. It is a communication protocol which allows connection of host over a network. The second point, in OSI model, the transport layer guarantees the delivery of packets. In TCP/IP model, the transport layer does not guarantee delivery of packets. Still, the TCP/IP model is more reliable. The third point is the follows vertical approach, and the TCP/IP follows horizontal approach. And fourth point is the OSI model has a separate presentation layer and session layer. I think all are you observed in previous diagrammatic comparison. In OSI reference model having 7 layer, but the TCP/IP having only 4 layers. In this model, the presentation layer and session layer have in OSI layer, OSI reference model, but in TCP/IP doesn't have a separate presentation layer or session layer. Fifth point is the transport layer is connection oriented in TCP/IP, but in OSI reference model, but in TCP/IP reference model, the transport layer is both connection oriented and connectionless. Connection oriented connectionless networks are TCP and UDP. The sixth point is the network layer is both connection oriented and connectionless. But in TCP/IP, the network layer is connectionless communication system. Seventh point, the OSI is a reference model around which the network are built. Generally, it is used as a guidance tool, but the TCP/IP is in a way of implementation of the OSI model. And eighth point is the network layer of OSI model provides both connection oriented and connectionless. But the network layer in TCP model provides connectionless service. The OSI model has problem of fitting the protocols into model. The TCP/IP model does not fit any protocol. The next one is the protocols are hidden in OSI model and are easily to replaced with technology changes. In TCP/IP, replacing protocol is not easy. The 11th point is the OSI reference model defines services, interfaces, and protocols very clearly that make a clear distinction between them. It's protocol independent, but the TCP/IP services, interface, and protocols are not clearly separated. It is also protocol dependent. The OSI having 7 layers, but the TCP/IP having only 4 layers. And this is the basic difference or comparison between TCP/IP and OSI reference model. Okay. The next topic is protocols. First of all, what is meant by protocol? The simply protocol says that is set of rules. The protocols are set of rules. A protocol is a set of rules that govern data communications. A protocol defines what is communicated, how it is communicated, and when it is communicated. The key elements of protocol are syntax, semantics, and timing. The network protocols are simply set of established rules that dedicated how to format, transmit, receive data so computer network devices from servers and routers so endpoints can communicate regardless of differences there underlying any infrastructure design standards. To successfully send and receive information, devices on both sides of a communication exchange must accept and follow protocol conventions. Support for network protocols can be built into software, hardware, or both. The standardized network protocols provide a common language. A network devices without them, computers won't know how to engage with each other, and a result as a result, except of specialty networks built around a specific architecture, few networks would be able to function. And the network or in internet as we know we won't exit. Virtually all networks and end users really network protocol for connectivity. The key elements of protocols are syntax, semantic, and timing. First of all, what is syntax? The term syntax refers to the structure or format of the data, that is the meaning, the order in which they are presented. For example, a single protocol might accept first 8 bits of data to be address of the sender, the second 8 bit to be address of the receiver, and rest of stream will be message like that. And next one is semantics. The word semantics refers to the meaning of each section of bits. How is particular pattern to be interpreted and what action is taken based on the interpretation. For example, does an address identify the route to be taken or final destination of the message? And next one is timing. The term timing refers to the two characteristics: when data should be sent and how fast they can be sent. For example, if sender produces data at 100 Mbps but the receiver can process data only 1 Mbps, the transmission will be overloaded and receiver and some data will be lost. That's why the protocols having the three important terms, key terms. Okay. We have several protocols like routing protocol, transfer protocol, connecting protocols like SMTP, FTP, internet protocols. So many are there. Next one, standardization. The many network vendors, and suppliers exist in the real world, each with its own idea how things should be done. Without coordination, there would be a complete chaos and users would get nothing done. The only way out is agree on some network standards. Not only do standards allow different computers to communicate, but they are also increase the larger market leads to mass production, economies of the scale manufacturing, the VLSI implementations, and the other benefits that decreases price and further increase acceptance. In the following section, we will take a quick look on important but little known international standardization. The standards are essential in creating and maintaining an open and competitive market for equipment manufacturers in gathering national and international interoperability of data and telecommunication technology and the process. The standards provide guidelines to manufacturers, vendors, government agencies, and other service providers to ensure the kind of interconnectivity necessary in today's marketplace, and it is international communication. The basically standards fall in two categories: de facto and de jure. The first one, de facto. Basically, de facto is Latin word that is from the fact. The standards are those that have just happened without any formal plan. The IBM PC and the successors are de facto standards for small office and home computers because dozens of manufacturers choose a copy IBM's machines very closely. Similarly, Unix is the de facto standard for operating system in university computer science departments. And next one is de jure. The standards that mean by law. The standard contrast are formal legal standards adopted by some authority standardization body. The international standardization authorities are generally divided into two classes: those established by the treaty among national governments and those comprising voluntary non-treaty organizations. They have servicing and remaining mostly rural customers. The companies in United States that provide communication services to the public are called common carriers. Their offering and prices are described by a document called tariff, which must approved by the Federal Communication Commission for interstate and international tariff by the State Public Utilities Commission for interstate traffic. The some standard organizations are given below. The first one is ISO, that is International Standard Organization. Second one ITU, International Telecommunication Union. Third one IEEE, that is International Electrical and Electronics Engineers. And next one is ANSI, American National Standardization Institute. Next one IETF, International Engineering Task Force. Next one EIA. The EIA is, that is agency. And next one is W3C, Worldwide Web Consortium. In this session, we have covered all those topics in Unit 1. Okay, I will provide notes for you. Today's session is over. Have a nice day.